How do you sprint though?
Hey, look!
That's just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Beautiful. Ah.
You look like your name is Pacheco.
Yeah, it's crazy because Pacheco is my sister's like maiden name. Yeah, I guess. So that's crazy. That's fucking crazy.
That dude in the background looks like an arsonist.
Yo, Funky, I wanna study your mind one day, bro.
Summer.
You fucking cuck, bro.
Jax is a monster, and she's toxic.
Jax, welcome on in. I died all those. Ooh, he got me. Fuck. I was like, yo. Jax, let it be known, Jax, on the record, that your boo, all right, your boo never mentioned in my chat that you guys were a thing. We went through the message log together. And they admitted defeat.
Hey, yo, Jax, keep it down, bruh.
Thank you, Ray.
A ripple awake. Not
Eat my ass! Ugh!
vain and bliss. Summoned by deeds. You are nobody.
Come on, homie. Is we fucking or is we fucking, bro? Fuck you, bro. All right.
You have forced my hand.
Wait, no, Jax. It does though. It does because now he's second guessing that he even mentioned it in a VC with me. Jax, no the fuck you weren't, Jax. Jax, literally hit the darkest part of my ass, bro.
And flow.
Oh shit. Okay, homie. Woo-hoo-hoo! Get fucked, bro. Nah, there's a third phase?
Halt! No ill will I bear. I'm merely my brother's eyes and ears. I feign my loyalty to guard this path on the bear's order. Your destiny's bleak and stark. In its grip, we share the mark. The Guanyin temple now lies in cinders.
Ray, you don't hear no fucking police coming, bro.
The root of greed.
Hold on, Jax. I'm gonna hear you. Hold on. I'm gonna hear you. Give me a sec.
Suffering. Better to forget the thing you truly seek. The three bells. Have you seen them all? Do you too desire that which they ceaselessly hold dear?
The bell. 3 bells were set in the mountains since the Black Wind Guai's return, yet no one is allowed to go near them.
Wait, but I ranked 2 of those bells.
The bells have something to do with the temples burning. His words sound like truth to me, little monkey. Stay sharp and keep a lookout.
All right, let me hear what Jax has to say. Hold on a second. Rick is devastated that he's 3 months late to me and Max, even though he was explicitly told in VC 2 months ago. Honey, no, Hansbula, nah, no, there's no fucking receipts, Hansbula. I was just calling y'all the Max Effect because I thought y'all had chemistry, but I didn't know y'all were a thing either. Thank you, Funky. And also, Jax, I just want you to know right now there was a poll. Duff threw a poll in chat asking who knew about you guys, if you just found out today or if you knew a while ago. Only 3 people knew a while ago.
Goes to show that you don't pay attention to Jax.
Only 3 people. Make me fucking clap. Okay, only 3 people knew that you guys were a thing, and 11 didn't. They just found out right fucking now. It goes to show you don't pay attention to Jax. No, I mind my fucking business. That's what I do. All right, I learned to mind my business. And if I'm not explicitly told, yo, like, I'm going out with this person, I'm not going to assume, okay? Not gonna assume. That's just not, I'm not gonna do that. Mill. The answer to this question will decide the outcome of our friendship, Mill. All right? Mill, did you know or did you not know?
But what if Jax is telling you? A normal person pays attention.
You know what?
We got him.
You know what, Ray? Fuck you, bro. Fuck you, bro. All right, Mill. Letting you know right now, Mill. All right? What's your address? Next time we'll mail you. No. Mill, did you or did you not know that Max and Jax were an item? I love how fucking Carly is feeding off of all this shit too. That's the thing. No, fuck that energy,
If we
Jax.
eating the darkest part of your ass, you still gotta specify which part, cause like, what if you got hyperpigmentation or something? And also, apparently you're dark enough to be invited to the Twitch Black Guild, so.
First of all, when I say the darkest part of my ass, it's literally inside my asshole because no light hits there, all right? Unless I'm bent over and you're gaping my asshole. So when I say eat the darkest part of my ass, literally eat the inside of my asshole. That's what I went black. That's fucking racist, Ray. You're better than that, Ray. So you're saying you're not bent over? No, I'm not bent over. Whenever someone's eating my ass, I'm not bent over. I'm literally on my back, legs back up to my ear. So if you guys want a fucking visual of eating my ass, that's literally bent leg. You're gonna, yo, when I tell you, man, my legs are gonna be so far back, you're gonna probably hear my knees clanking like fucking Carly's, bro. Like, that's how far. First of all, Rat Queen, all right? I don't give a fuck if that's bottom behavior, bro. I'm gonna get mine, all right? You know where our G-spot is? Our G-spot's in our ass. So I'm gonna fucking get mine. You gotta try it bent over. There's a whole new world of. No.
Point being, you know now.
Yes, point being, I know now. I congratulated y'all. I hugged y'all. You know what I mean? I just needed. I was going through some shit, Jax. You have no idea I was going through some shit. Two of my favorite people getting together, and I didn't even celebrate it. I was going through some shit. So I just had to know that y'all didn't tell me. Y'all didn't fucking tell me. And I feel like when you say that you and Max were in a VC with someone and y'all said it to them, you know, I don't want to come off like that guy, but it might have been another Hispanic, you know, just saying.
Was it Ray? I'm sorry, Rick, that they told me and I didn't tell you, okay?
Thank you, Critical. Jax, that was a good one. That was fucking good right there, Jax. That was fucking good right there. But seriously, I'm beyond ecstatic for the both of you guys. Wait, what is this? Moderately increase the damage of craft at keeper shrines or blacksmith. Still, Rick on his deathbed. You know they ain't tell me to half the world knew. You know what, man? Listen. My argument is this, Jack. All right. I'm not upset if I wasn't told. Okay, like that's not what I'm upset about. What I'm upset about is being told that I was told, and me not having any recollection whatsoever about it. That what upsets me. Like, I don't care when I found out. But like to hear like you guys say, yo, we told you on several occasions. I was like, ain't no way. Okay, one occasion maybe I slipped up, you know what I mean? Like 2 occasions, I doubt. Like
on this episode of Ripley's Believe It or Not,
ain't no way I missed it like 2 or 3 times. There's just no way I missed it like 2 or 3 times. So it was a relief when I found out that Max had not said it in my chat. I was relieved. The VC, I don't know how we're gonna prove that, but I just find it so hard to believe that I didn't celebrate y'all.
Holy shit, look at them buns!
La Mota be hitting, bro. Yo, we had a lot of fucking Mota in Chicago, bro. That shit was hitting hard. It was mad dope sitting down, smoking with fucking Hansbula, Ted, and Carly, bro. Just smoking with each other, just looking at each other like. I kind of felt like I was, you know, that 70s shows when they go to the basement and they do the cipher circle. That's what I felt like I was doing, bro. Damn, not Carly calling out Crit now. Yo, Carly, keep this up. I might ask you to be a mod. You're exhibiting mod behavior right now. Oh shit, I can't see. I can't see. Oh, that was a new enemy. It took a lot to beat him up. Also, just got the call. I just got to call the police here and there. No, Ray. I was going to close the stream, but I wanted to support my friends. Good news. Thank you. Thank you so much, Critical, for being such a supportive friend. See, the one thing I don't like about this game is that they always give you two paths to walk. And I don't know which one is story progression and which one isn't. Oh, this is the third bell. Oh, shit. That was kind of badass how all those guys got up and... Oh damn, that's kind of dark. Guess we gotta do this. There's a third bell. Yo, good night, Crit. Oh, don't worry, Carly. If I ever want to make you a mod, I would ask you first. Yeah, definitely, Crit. I mean, yo, for those who don't know, tomorrow Critical and Seravium get their long-awaited puppy. The Chili, where Chili's a dachshund, so they get the pup. Ancient Guayan Temple. Wait, where the fuck? Oh, did I just teleport somewhere? I don't like that. I feel like I missed a whole bunch of stuff now. Holy shit, I'm having very like I am having big deja vu right now with the whole I thought y'all were talking about soup this whole time. Bro, no deja vu in the conversation. Jax, fuck you, Jax.
Jax, keep it down.
Jax, I need you to leave a Yelp review on my driving, Jax. Yeah, it was Max that said keep it down too. 10 out of 10 did not die. That's probably like the best compliment ever, Bula. Whenever people say I love it here, it's the best compliment. Oh. This is where I get to. After the weapon is there. Ooh, what armor do I have to craft? 18 defense, 16 defense. Yo, you see his fucking drip? Hey, yo, look at the colors. Nah, my man Wukong is fucking DripCon right now, bro. Fleek the fuck. Yeah, I like that freaking scaly blue. Defense, poison resistant. Massively reduces stamina cost when in water. Oh, I'm fucking dripped out. Never want to burn every day. Yeah. Yo, Chewy, what's up, man? Yo, can we get a shout out for Chewy the Red, please? It's the homie right there. Reduces the stamina cost of. Thank you so much, Jax, for the shout out. Slightly increases stamina recovery rate when depleted. Each talent level significantly increases the engaging distance of light attack starter. Okay. Maximum moderately increases maximum health. All right, so this tree is a little confusing, but ooh, look at that drip! My man coming through about to fuck someone's wife long dick style. I'm Tyrone. What do you mean, sir? Look, tell me the drip don't go hard. If somebody, if somebody come through with this fucking drip, barefoot, yeah, you getting the dick. I'm sorry, you getting it.
Daddy, chill.
Wow.
Excuse me?
Who told you you could go outside looking as good as you look, looking all nice and sexy the way you looking going outside? The nerve, the audacity, the gumption, the gall.
Someone come to my house
To
like
make a
that
long
barefoot, they
fucking
getting
story
the
short,
blick.
I put a whole bag of jelly beans up my ass. And it's 24 hours later and I ain't find none yet.
Wow.
Fuck, one of these big ass heads.
Oh, thank me to God. Oh, finally then, the 3 bells sang. Disciples come, I hear travelers approaching my temple, carrying you treasures. I cannot see you, but I recognize your odor.
Yo, that fucking drip go hard, bro.
You're back? It must be you who took that Kasaya. Now give it back!
There's zombies too? Oh! Whoa, bro! Okay, hold up. Man, not you with the gamma clap, bro. Shit. Damn. Fuck. Back away, back away! Shit. Alright.
Bobblehead head ass motherfucker.
Holy shit! Golly! Okay. We gotta sit up with that one. That's a fucking monk, bro? Damn, I keep forgetting about the. Shit, I keep forgetting about the second spin. Ugh. All right. I keep forgetting about that second attack. Grab his dick and twist it. Yo, by the way, Ken. Because I want to know if something works. Bop it, pull it. Damn, Carly. Bro, you just headbutted the. No, I removed the drugs one, Rat Queen. Yeah, it was fucking PewDiePie. Like I don't relate to PewDiePie at all, so I was like, fuck it, like, you know, I'm trying to put memes and stuff that relate to me. Oh, I'm sorry, Lady Death. Yeah, my bad, Rat Queen. I'm distracted with this fight right now. Fuck.
What you doing out here with all this ass? Double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon, hella ass. Toes over here, bro. Oh, they're giving him life? No. Oh, that's. You are a fucking cuck, bro.
Ow! Ow! I couldn't recover from that headbutt, bro. I could not recover from that headbutt. You know what's crazy is pretty much all the bosses we did on the first try, except that serpent boss. We did that one on 2 or 3 tries. And then the first version of this monk, the first time I fought him, I had to fight him like 5 or 6 times. I don't know what is it about this monk, but I swear I'm dodging, bro. I swear I'm dodging. Okay. I'm gonna need my song for this one. Fucking headbutt.
You copy him? Curse you!
Fuck the freaking headbutt! Headbutt!
Don't let him leave alive! Roll back! Curse him!
Son of a bitch. Right when the song ended. I love that. I love when it works out like that. What the Temple of Taint?
Get riggedy wrecked, son!
Yo, that is Max's trophy right there. The Temple of Taint.
Cassius collected by the hundreds. Still one short without his. No, stop. Go back. Leave it. Just leave it. Stop the fire. Please stop.
We got him.
We got him. We got him.
We just got Max's trophy, Jax. The Temple of Taint. Yo, Chewy, have yourself a great night, man. Thank you so much for coming through and hanging out.
We got him.
Fireproof mantle. The great sage borrowed it from Virapaxa. How did it end up here? You must have freed that miserable soul. Oh, such is his end. A tragedy prologued by a sick clouds. It's getting late. Let's hurry up the mountain.
Something over there I could grab. Oh, you got the Maddie, we got him, yeah. I have it so that if somebody uses the we got him emote in my chat, it actually says we got him. Is this life or is it stamina? Maximum mana? Oh, okay. I'll take that. Shit. I wonder how many bosses are in this game. I fought like already. I fought like 7 already. Yo, should I do an early stream tomorrow, guys? Or should I start at my normal time, like at 6 o'clock? Early when? How early? I don't know. I was thinking like maybe 2 p.m. Eastern. Actually, you know what? No, I think I'm gonna start at my normal time because then it gives me more time to add stuff to stream. Because like the thing, what did I add to stream today? So I added the horny spray for chat, which is a channel point redemption. So when chat gets horny, I added that. And then I also added the 180 bit, which is add a mini Rick on stream for 180 seconds. That's why I did it 180 bits. And yeah, so and it goes up to 10 times. So you could add up to like 10. I already have Shrimp City. But like Shrimp City is like Ted's thing. So I only have it. So like when Ted comes. Yeah, I added it already. And then I have we got this. Whatever he said. But no, we have the 180 bit alert, which adds a Rick. So. Oh, here I am. I'm on the corner over here. And then if you give another 180 bits, it should add another one. Oh, there's one right here. And that could go up to 10 times. And it's random pop-ups. Oh, there I am in the corner down here. Well, yeah, you know where I get it. But yeah. So you could do up to 10 of them because I didn't want to overload my computer. But if I feel like I could do more than 10 of them, then I'll do more than 10. I doubt we'll ever have like 10 of them on the screen at the same time. But they stay there for 3 minutes, hence the 180 bits, 1 bit per second. And I got more stuff I want to add. To be continued. Okay, I came from there. Oh, shit. Yeah, Jax, what happened? Oh, who the fuck is this guy? Why are you moving like this? Ray, no! Ray! No! Ray! Motherfucker. No! Oh, they're fucking okay. Yo, I should put a custodial Rick next to each one of them, right? Oh my god, I'll probably overload my computer though. Yo, so when I came back from Chicago and I started like you know, I had like a list of things that I wanted to add to stream, right? Shout outs to me for actually writing down a list so I didn't forget shit. And when I was like trying to do editing work and stuff on stream, like not on stream, off stream, my computer could not handle it. I go to look at my hard drive. My hard drive only had 2.5 gigs of memory left. I was like, oh my God. Come to find out, I've got a button on my Stream Deck. And what that button does is, if I press the button, I could literally record stuff live. So, like, and it'll turn it into a green screen. So if I go, wait, is it recording right now? I don't know if it's recording right now. Anyways, fuck you, Jax. Fuck you. Then I'll stop. Let me see if it recorded. Anyways, long story short, I went into my recordings, right? And I had so many fucking videos recorded without knowing it. What's this video? Go ahead, Fox. Give me it. Oh, that's me. Jax, fuck you. All right? Eat my whole ass, Jax. Oh, there we go. That sounds about right. Anyways, I had a whole lot of videos. I have a whole lot of videos that yeah, that's the one you have. I had a whole lot of videos recording that took up all my hard drive space, bro. Like dead ass. Also, Ray, thank you for testing the 180-bit. Did I see my DMs? Like how far back? Like new DMs? Oh shit, I got new DMs. When the fuck was, what day was this? Yeah, we went as far back as 7/7, July 7th. No, but that I understood. That like, my thing for that was, like, I understood that you guys like hooked up, but again, hooking up to me still isn't putting a label on each other. You get what I mean? That's what I was trying to explain to you before. Is like, I was aware that you guys have hooked up, but when people hook up, I still don't consider them like an item. So I wasn't gonna automatically drop that label on you.
Coming for our master? Think again.
Why that fucking face, Jax? It's true though. I know many friends that like hook up with each other and, you know, friends with benefits type thing. Oh, what is this? Deals additional damage to enemies upon crashing their immobilization. Oh, I like this. I like this. Yes, I like this. I like this a lot. Oh my, hello? Yo, why is he so dripped the fuck out, bro? Nah. What is this? My man Wukong, what's good, bro? Shit. Oh shit. I need to get silk though. I don't have any silk. Alright, I gotta get silk. For real, that's the knife fit. Self advance. I was told to get thrust. Harley, good night, Queen. You are missed. Have yourself a good sleep. Like a really good sleep. Oh my God. They don't give me any. How is I supposed to know behind that Black Wind King?
500 years. I have rebuilt the temple. Now it's grander in scope. All those monks consumed by the fire turned to wandering ghosts roaming in Black Wind Mountain. It was I who granted them eternal repose. I have even restored the charred scriptures piece by piece. But oh yes, I always knew. One day you shall return.
Wow.
I am the Black Wind! You have ruined everything!
Ali. Okay. broke out. Broke out from my immobilization shit. Damn.
You challenge me without even letting me have dinner first. Oh, the challenge! Yet know not how to bear longing. Still think you're rock solid?
Boy, come on. There's no difficulty setting in this, Jax. It's like Sekiro. It's one difficulty. Like
meet me at the
everyone plays on the same difficulty. This is like a Soulsborne game. It's one of those kind of games. Yeah. There's no difficulty setting.
The spell he just cast may appear intricate, but it's not hard to learn. But Black Bear's expertise is lacking. Serving Guan Yin didn't help him much. But what he left here could surely help us. Consider today your lucky day. Focus and disperse, illusions traverse. You still have a lot to learn, but give yourself time.
kind of wish this game was a little more like Sekiro though, because like there's no parry. All I could do is just dodge. So that's very Souls-like. But I wish there was a parry system. Damn.
Coming for our master. Think again.
The hedge is a treacherous path, young monkey. Don't forget the spell you just learned.
I see you.
Shit. Oh my god, I'm stuck in this roof. Oh man, I feel like that could have been done so much better. What time is it right now, Jax? If you don't mind. Oh, actually, I got my phone right here. 2 p.m. 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. I mean, 2 a.m. You were going through it watching the movies with us. It was good to see you though, Blurdy. This game is beautiful.
It's death either way.
So far, we haven't hit like we've been moving through the game pretty smoothly. Haven't really hit any like rough spots.
Master promised to reward whoever.
I've never played Elden Ring yet, Blurdy. I gotta play Elden Ring. I have played Sekiro though. I feel like Sekiro trained me. Although with Sekiro, like Sekiro had a parry system, so I was able to like block and counter. This one doesn't. This one's just straight dodging, but I've got my fair experience with Soul games, so I wish this game was a little more like Sekiro. Like I wish it had.
You once told me.
I wish it had a parry system.
Out of sight, out of mind is a fool's task.
This looks like a Mortal Kombat
but
tower.
Seeing through is what wise men do. But didn't he turn mad by what he saw too?
Yo? Well, fuck me. We got ourselves a bear. Oh shit. Get fucked. Oh, you move like the ape from Sekiro, bro. All right. Oh shit, I thought I dodged that. man. My bad. Okay, I didn't dodge that one. All right. That hit me hard. Oh, that was a hard hit. Ah, damn. Ah, damn. Oh, dodge that one though. That one. Wow. Kill Yogi Bear.
Cunning wretch! Well, spare your sorry life for today!
Get riggedy wrecked, son!
No one will come to your aid. All I need is to take it elsewhere and rebuild everything anew!
Oh, damn, he nutted. That sounded like a nut.
Great sage!
When you come, but she keeps going.
Oh, pardon me, young sage. Mercy, young sage, have mercy. I was just a pawn of the Celestial Court. If given a choice, who dared to challenge the mighty wrecker of the Celestial Palace?
His words ring true. No matter how daring he was, he had not the nerve to harm the great sage. There must be someone else pulling all the strings.
Exactly, and this thing is eerie. I have no idea how to make use of its power. Except to enshrine it up there. If you pardon me, I'll go back to Guanyin to atone for my actions and be put back
Jeff,
on the
what's up, man?
engaging
Welcome on
path.
in. Part
You
of
will
the
never see me out there
Kitty Raw
anymore.
crew.
Oh, ignore his nonsense. Go now, little monkey. Go and retrieve the great sage's relic.
That's my homie? That's a dope looking bird. that Baloo? This game got great storytelling. Who is that? That's what I want to know.
Master, it still puzzles me. A monk's lust for gold should be quelled. Why does Elder Jinche still cling to that one Kasaya?
Bereft of that Kasaya, how shall they show the world their ties are cut and their lust is quelled?
Oh, that was chapter 1? Oh.
Across streams, over hills, and through the black wind your blood has spilled. Wolves howl, snakes wind, flames lick, and the smoke blinds. Stumble on the lesser, lame, crash before their betters, shame. With such clumsiness, what destiny do you claim? As the small fish catches its prey, the bigger lurks behind. Who is the bigger fish? I can't see it. As for the prey and the small fish, they are swimming everywhere.
Does that mean there's 5 chapters? Ooh, I got silk. I think I'm gonna end stream right now too, Jax, because we just concluded chapter 1, so that's great timing. Glimpse reveals the foe's might. Considerably increases focus gained upon consecutive successful light attacks. Unsuccessful hit with cooldown of the spell is massively reduced. Considerably increases critical hit damage. That tickled my taint? What in tarnation tickled your taint? Considerably increase the critical hit chance of damn, I don't got Oh, it did come from the game, Jax. Why are you asking me if I'm sure I want to proceed? There's no way for me to go back, so Yo, this game is fire, bro. This game is fire. This man is having his own concert. Look at all these arrows. Damn, that's just one person? Yo, that's me. Nah, you mean to tell me this guy fucked me? He's got no head. This guy got no head.
I got an idea why you've come here, my friend.
Yo, how do you fucking light me up and then sing in my face?
I'll lend you a hand. Won't you step in? Get more shots and you'll be high and dry.
Fucking bop though, bro. Nah, Blurdy, I heard some girl today that oh shit. Oh damn! That asked somebody, is your name Nezuko? Because I'm trying to get you inside this box, and I was like, ain't no way. Yeah, using anime pickup lines like that right here. New enemies. Crow, what's up? Hey, yo, that would have worked on me. All right, I did say that this was gonna be where we stopped the game. It's a new chapter. Don't worry though, because I will stream later on today. And we'll continue with chapter 2. But yo, we went through chapter 1 pretty good, man. Nice and smooth, pretty easy. I like this game so far. New sleeping meds are working wonders. Ooh, I love that for you, bro. If you don't mind me asking, what were you diagnosed with that required sleeping meds? Yeah, this was like 104 gigs on PlayStation. My download, it only took maybe like 3 minutes to download this. I got pretty good fucking internet though too. So that's ready. We are in dire times. Burgers. Oh! Oh, I could take fall damage. Damn. Really? Asperger's is a bad word? No, it's said around here a lot. I got silk from that guy. Silky smooth. Oh, hello there. That's a big boy down there. That's that frog dude. My man threw that ass back on me. Yeah. Throwing that ass back like that, bro. Whoa, man, my man thrusted. Yo, shit, okay. Fuck you. If I had more mana, I could have probably killed him. Maddie, how come you think that it How come your thing didn't pop up? Oh, I was that deep in the fucking zone, bro. Now hold on, I'm going straight to that guy. Wait, where did Rick appear? Oh, there he is, all the way in the top left-hand corner. If you guys can't see him, you're gonna be there for. He's gonna be there for 180 seconds. We could have up to 10 of them at once, but I think I'm gonna add more. They're not all that small. They all range in size. Yo, Raya, thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome on in. It's been a minute. No, yeah. Yo, Maddie, what were you playing today, bro? And I know you're about to take your ass to bed, but well, what are we working on? Get fucked. Damn, I need a... Ooh, BioShock 2, one of my favorite games, bro. You're gonna have a good time. I gotta get the platinum for that too. Have a good night, bro. I love you, man. Get fucked. was a one-hitter quitter. She. I'm doing very good, Ryan. I'm just I'm about to end stream actually. Man, this game is so beautifully done. Oh!
You come at a good moment. One of my formulas was swallowed by a petty frog. Stay and help. A deity like myself will not short you.
You mean the frog that I just beat?
Oh, how wondrous! You come here. Man follows earth, earth follows sky, sky follows Tao, Tao follows nature. These common pills, I grant you. Hereafter, you may craft more yourself at the shrines. I must retrieve a furnace forthwith. Pray forgive my departure.
Pray forgive my departure. It's like he puts a stick in his ear and then he pulls it out of his ear too. I don't know how he does it, but. My lord. That was a wet one. shit. Alright, the game doesn't freaking stop the cutscene and lets me.
You're meddling and cheating!
Alright, I'm gonna end stream here. We unlocked the shrine. Okay. Good night, Blurred. Thank you for coming by, hanging out with me today. Fucking Steven, thank you. Damn, I hate this like collab thing, bro. I don't like it. I don't like that at all. Wait, what drops does Call to the Lamb have? Support a streamer pack? Damn, I haven't played that game in so long. Like once I got the platinum for Cult of the Lambs, I dropped that thing. It was a fun game though. I loved it. Yo, Queen Shanleen. Let's go to her and drop her some love. Bula Bula, thank you for being you. All right. Next stream is in a few hours, bro. Today, Saturday is gonna be the next stream. Thank you for the raid out message. We are going to change that raid out message though, real quick. It's gonna be I really love Queen Shanleen because she's battling the same heart disease that my boy Dame was battling before he passed away. So she holds a. We're gonna ask her how her O2 levels are, not if she pooped. We've asked her if she pooped many times. She poops on a daily basis, so please copy that one and ask her, Bula, I hope you had a lot of practice for Mario Kart because tonight we're gonna be playing some Mario Kart. If you have time before stream, I'll play some Mario Kart with you. You know what I'm saying? But guys, I love you. Check in on your friends, especially strong ones. Most importantly, man, I hope you guys are winning the battles you're not telling anybody about. Mwah.
How are you? How are you, man? Good to see you.